you have all that information there. It seems like a lot, but then it ends up being okay.
It is, and I'll be the first one to say there's times where it's going to seem like, oh my gosh, what else do they want?
Yes.
But there are reasons, and if most people saw what goes on behind the scenes and how much due diligence we do, that you never know about, you will be surprised.
Okay.
There's not much we don't find out.
Yeah, they'll find out everything. Well, Ryan Ramsey with Stockton Mortgage, thanks so much for joining us once again.
Well, thank you for having me. I look forward to seeing you next time.
Are you looking for the best deal right up front on a brand new Jeep? It's Jeep season at the number.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get an update because we've been seeing all the counties scrolling at the bottom of our screen throughout our newscast here. What should be the concern over the next hour or so?
Well, we're looking at the potential anyway for some thunderstorms with some damaging wind gusts that can knock tree limbs down, power outages, and also perhaps some large hail, quarter, maybe up to ping pong ball size. And so that's going to be focused on our southern counties especially. I want to stress that. So from Huntington to Charleston and northward, we're looking fine. Yes, it's raining, but that's not a severe rain as we're in the 60s, and those temperatures tend to be a little bit too cool to support severe weather, at least in this environment. But the farther south you are, it's across southeastern Kentucky and the West Virginia coal fields, you're going to be needing to be alert for the potential for some severe weather here over the next couple of hours or so. Once we get towards 7 and especially 8 o'clock, things will start to quiet down. But that will be the concern for the next couple hours. Like I said here, it's a non-severe rain along and north of I-64, and those southern counties, though, need to be aware of the potential for some stronger storms. But once we get after sunset and then overnight, we're quieting things down, and it'll be a much nicer day tomorrow. Clouds and fog, areas of fog to start will be in the lower 50s, but we'll slowly get the sunshine back as the day goes on. We'll end off with a beautiful blue sky, and temperatures will make the mid-70s in the afternoon, which is right around seasonable for this time of year. Your temperatures right now, though, are currently into the low to mid-60s along and north of I-64. Those temperatures are not supportive of severe weather right now, but where we are seeing the warmer temperatures down to the south in the low to mid-70s, that's where we're currently watching the potential for the severe storms, and that's where the severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 8 p.m. You can see here Logan and Mingo counties in our immediate area in West Virginia, and then we have Pike, Floyd, Johnson, Martin, and Magoffin in Kentucky. Now, also watching the potential for areas like Wayne and Lincoln and Boone, even right on the edge of the severe thunderstorm watch. Sometimes there can be some storms there, but for right now, that's not where the severe weather is. And so let's take a look at our radar. Have a lot of boxes out showing those severe thunderstorm warnings, and they're getting updated by the minute here. So as I put the warnings on, sometimes there'll be a new polygon that's already drawn. But bottom line here is that the area getting the worst of our weather right now is in southeastern Kentucky, anywhere from really Floyd County, Pike County here, Martin, for example. That's where we're getting some of the heaviest weather moving through, and also from Johnson County as well. So as you can see here, there's the severe thunderstorm warnings are in these yellow polygons, and there's a pretty hefty storm now moving through parts of our area. So we have this one in effect until 5 o'clock, moving right through Salyersville right now. The potential for some larger hail there, some damaging wind gusts, a lot of lightning. Obviously respect the lightning threat. Don't want to be outside when there's all these lightning strikes. And so heads up in the Swamp Branch area, 449 for you, Nero 506, Wonder 523, basically just showing where the storm is going through. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect now that's likely been extended here, that's moving through portions of northern Pike County. This was just updated as we were on the air, so getting the latest information right now. But just a heads up in the Sharondale area, Phelps at 508, Gilbert, West Virginia at 5:30. If this holds together, you could be under the gun for some pretty strong weather. Heavy rain, gusty, damaging winds, perhaps some quarter to ping pong ball size hail. And then finally, southern Pike County, Kentucky, including the Dorton area. We've got a strong storm moving through there as well. Dorton 453 is when that strongest storm would affect you. So that's what's going on right now. Mingo and Logan counties, we're quiet now, but the storms are moving in your direction over these next couple of hours. Farther north, though, non-severe rains moving through northeastern Kentucky, far southeastern Ohio, Lawrence County, and West Virginia from Huntington to Charleston. So this will all be wrapping up here by 8 o'clock, and then we're quiet after that. We'll be quiet tomorrow as morning clouds and areas of fog give way to lots of sunshine for the afternoon. And the good news is, after this, as we take a look at our next 7 days, we'll be quieter for a few days, nice through Friday with highs back in the 80s. Saturday, showers and storms focused mainly for the first part of the day. We should salvage late Saturday and the rest of the weekend with a nice start to our next week. But if you're in those areas that I've mentioned, remain alert over these next few hours, and then we'll be done with this and can sleep easy tonight.
That'll
That
be nice
is
to get that
good.
out of the way.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
All right. Hey, thanks, Andy.
Still ahead, when it comes to learning, every child is different.
Dr. Ashley Stevens with Capital County Schools will be showing us some tools to help find the right learning style for your child.
With an exciting new Toyota, you can go out and enjoy all your favorite.
And we're joining you again here from the First Warning Weather Center because we have a tornado warning that has been issued for Magoffin County in Kentucky until 5:15 p.m. So this was just issued for the area, and it's a storm that's moving off to the east, and so it also includes very tiny portions of Johnson and Floyd counties, but the bulk of this storm, or the main part of the storm, is currently in Magoffin right now. This is just to the south and east of Salyersville. So Salyersville, you are not under the risk right now, but for example, the Royalton area in Magoffin County, we're seeing this storm that has been tornado warned. Now, this is a tornado warning, meaning that the severe thunderstorm is capable of producing a tornado. This does not mean at this very time that we have a tornado that has been observed. However, it's important to be aware of the potential for this dangerous storm, which also could have some quarter-size hail moving across the area. So it is moving off to the east at about 25 miles per hour, and so we do have this warning that is in effect, and I'm going to put the storm track on here. So it's a slow-moving storm, honestly, only 25 miles per hour, not moving that fast, certainly not anywhere close to highway speeds, but in the Gypsy area, about 451, which is basically right now. Allen, Kentucky, 523, in the Wonder area at 538. If you're in those areas, be aware that there could be a dangerous storm headed to your area during this time period. So we are watching this very closely for you across the area, and we just have severe weather, honestly, that's ongoing across our southern counties right now. So as I zoom out to a wide view, I know there's a lot going on. This is a threat that is really only for southeastern Kentucky and the West Virginia coal fields. So we're not seeing any severe weather concerns for a majority of our viewing area. However, those areas that are under the risk, we want to inform you about what's going on right now. So we're joining you right now, and we'll have to stay on the air here until this either is expiring or canceled or whatever happens, because we want you all to be safe. So again, we have a tornado warning that is in effect now for portions of Magoffin County until 5:15 p.m., and that includes areas like the Sublette area around 4:55, Royalton, Kentucky, 5 p.m., and Marshallville around 5:05 p.m. for the potential for a tornado. We have not seen a tornado right now. However, I am getting a report here. It does say a confirmed tornado by radar was observed over the Hendricks area or near Salyersville. So it looks like this is radar confirmed. That does not mean we've seen a spotter or somebody actually on the ground saying there's a tornado, but if it's been confirmed by radar, that means that we're probably seeing some pretty strong indication here. And I want to see if I can turn on some other methods here so we can see exactly what's going on. Not seeing that as of right now. Let me see if I can turn on... looks like we're not getting that data just right yet, but either way, we're going to be certainly monitoring this for you closely. So overall, looking at the potential anyway for a tornado that is in effect for those areas, and so that will be in effect until 5:15 p.m. So just be careful if you are in anywhere really in the central portions of Magoffin County over towards Floyd County, Johnson County. We are seeing the potential for this dangerous storm to be moving close to you. So overall, this is a tornado that has been observed by radar, and so we're currently seeing that across the area. But either way, we've got some dangerous weather ongoing. So this is a severe thunderstorm watch is in effect, meanwhile, until 8 p.m. for these highlighted counties. And so that does include Magoffin, for example, over towards the Johnson County area, over towards Floyd County, Pike County, and also Martin County. And then in West Virginia, it is Logan and Mingo counties. And so this means that while we're looking at mainly just damaging wind gusts in the straight line form and large hail, you can also get the circular winds. That would be the tornado that does cause damage across the area, and that's what we're looking at right now. So let's get our bearings. We're going to stay on the air for you as long as we can, as long as this tornado warning is issued. And we're currently seeing that in effect across, for example, right now we're seeing that across Magoffin County. And Tony, I want to take over to you right now because I know you've got some other graphics to show, and your data is also updating as well.
Yeah, Andy, when you get a level 1 tornado warning from the National Weather Service, as you mentioned, that swirl that's been detected, the bottom line is oftentimes this means a funnel or a weak twister is forming. Let's put it in perspective. There have been numerous tornado warnings to the west, Louisville, Lexington, National Weather Service, in those counties to the west and north. And yet, so far, we've had no big tornado touchdown. So this is one of those indications that you should keep the kids inside naturally. There'll be some flying debris outside from these storms, but the main risks are brief high winds, and there'll also be some hail signatures, as there are on dual Doppler radar. So we're keeping a close eye on the dual Doppler radar to indicate that we have some heavy activity that will be moving in here during the next few hours. Going to keep our eyes on the Doppler radar across the entire area, because what we're looking at basically is showers and thunderstorms that are going to impact a lot of outdoor activities this evening. There you can see the wide scope of the radar. So softball games, baseball games being impacted by a regular run-of-the-mill heavy downpour pattern from springtime. However, if we go close down to the activity that Andy's been tracking, can you see those silver dollops east of Salyersville right now? There's also a couple that are south of Prestonsburg and north of Pikeville. This is an indication we have some hail falling from the sky. That would be ice up in the sky, capable of producing, in some areas, a gust of wind with the hail coming down at 50 miles an hour. 60 miles an hour in a couple of areas can certainly occur. So that silver Doppler radar return east of Salyersville is why the National Weather Service has issued a brief tornado warning until 5:15. Now for the eastern half of Magoffin County. Keeping in mind back in 2012 we had that twister that came down the Mountain Parkway and caused quite a bit of damage. Right now this is nothing close to what we saw in 2012. However, there has been some rotation that has been spotted up in the clouds by the National Weather Service, and that rotation is certainly capable of producing some strong winds. We figure there are straight line winds that are producing 50-mile-an-hour gusts, and when you see a circulation up in the clouds, the National Weather Service's mantra, you see 2 consecutive scans of the radar and you issue a tornado warning, and you ask folks to take cover. So I've highlighted 3 particular areas where I'm seeing signatures of hail: east of Salyersville and north of Royalton, north of Prestonsburg, and north of Pikeville. So basically traveling the Country Music Highway, where I know meteorologist Drew Narsutis has been patrolling, we've got heavy thunderstorms with hail that are being produced in select areas. If we were to widen out and look at the lightning strikes, that's an indication of where the severe thunderstorm watch is in effect. In other words, Huntington, Charleston North, I-64 and north, the atmosphere has been worked over by earlier afternoon activity, so no threat of severe weather from a standpoint of tornadoes is expected, although naturally there can be a lightning strike and certainly a street flood. But the Doppler radar, the lightning strikes in southeast Kentucky focus our attention on where there is likely to be some severe weather in the form of strong winds. Focus our attention, and this is an interesting field that I'd like to look at. It's called the vertically integrated liquid. It's a fancy way of saying where are the most severe storms? Well, you can see south of Weeks-Bury and northeast of Pikeville. That's the storm that I'm looking at for the most severity right now. So as this cell moves out of Magoffin County into a section of southwestern Johnson County and northwestern Floyd County, it appears to be in a weakening mode. So this is not one of those nights where a tornado warning's been issued for Magoffin County where you would head to the cellar. It's simply an indication there are some strong winds, and there has been some rotation that has been detected by the National Weather Service. But now look at northeast of Pikeville and south of Weeks-Bury, heading into Pike County. That's where the heaviest activity is right now. For most of us, we've got a rain night that's washing away Little League, high school softball and baseball games, guys, and we'll keep you posted on First at 5 coming up.
Sarah Sager, WSAZ News Channel 3.
Okay, we are under a severe weather alert across the Kentucky coalfields here during the evening hours. So let me set the stage. The polls are open for 1 more hour in Kentucky. Our Ashley Home Store weather cam, the I-64 stretch and counties north are under a regular run-of-the-mill spring shower and thunder pattern here during the evening hours. And the temperatures are key here, where it's still humid, warm in the Kentucky coalfields. You have more energy for severe weather to occur. National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm watch for a handful of counties in the Kentucky and West Virginia coalfields, and there's one brief tornado warning that's been issued in Magoffin County that should be expiring here shortly. In fact, the Doppler radar presentation suggests that this has weakened to the point where there is no longer an imminent threat of a tornado touchdown of severity. There can still be a funnel up in the hills of eastern Kentucky, and I am worried about pockets of 50-mile-an-hour winds over into Floyd, Johnson, over into Martin, Pike counties in Kentucky. But the circulation with this is much less than it was earlier on. And that's why we issue a tornado alert level 1, a radar swirl in the clouds, as opposed to a confirmed tornado on the ground, which so far this has not been confirmed. Doppler radar, we'll go back and show you that much of us just have a regular run-of-the-mill thunder pattern to wash away Little League, baseball, and high school softball games. Now we look to the south, where our focus of attention are these hail showers and storms that have been crossing through the Licking Valley, now moving on to the Big Sandy Valley of southeastern Kentucky. The silver Doppler radar dollop, which is now over into eastern Floyd County, or eastern Magoffin County. This is the cell right here that earlier prompted a tornado warning. Tornado warning's in effect until 5:15, don't get me wrong. But this cell is capable of producing a hailstorm as it crosses from Martin County or from Magoffin into Floyd County and clips southern Johnson County. Those little Doppler radar circles that I put on there, these are the ones that are producing the hail. These are the ones that are producing strong winds. And as this cell moves northeast of Royalton out of Magoffin County, the threat of a tornado will go by the wayside. And again, it was a tornado threat as far as a swirl in the clouds as opposed to on the ground. Doppler radar, well, the lightning strikes are congregating in the Big Sandy Valley. That's where the atmosphere has been warmer. It's been more humid today, and that's where the threat of severe weather continues here for another couple of hours. Doppler radar from a big scope, Huntington, Louisa, Charleston, yeah, Little League games, softball games being washed away. But now the Doppler radar presentation focused my attention on two particular cells I'm watching right now. These are the ones that are catching my attention for the most severe. We're talking about Pikeville. We're talking about Weeksbury. Heading into Pike County, that's where the most severe weather is on Doppler radar right now. We'll keep a close eye on that. But overall, you can see the Doppler radar presentation is taking showers and downpours off to the east. Hamlin, down toward Madison, I'm seeing some lightning strikes. Southern coalfields, that's where the activity has been most pronounced in southeast Kentucky, and no reason to think this won't cross over into the Tug River Valley and the Guyandotte Valley of southern West Virginia. So this evening, here's what you're planning. Rain and rumbles of thunder, local street flooding, patchy fog, temperature at 60 degrees. Tomorrow, the atmosphere is much more quiet. A cool day, 52 to start, 65 lunch hour, and 70 as we get to the late afternoon hours. Andy, that's my assessment of the Doppler radar on the fly. What do you have over there in the Weather Center?
All right, thanks, Tony. I think I'll be bringing my mic up in just a second here, so I still don't think I'm on. However, I just want to update everybody that the tornado warning has expired or was canceled early. So that's certainly some good news. That's certainly some good news for us. So the tornado warning has expired, but we are looking still at those severe thunderstorm warnings issued. And so I want to show you something that I have turned on right now. You see this blue area? That is what is called shear. I know that's a fancy term, but think of really fast spinning circular winds that would end up producing a tornado. And so you can see that those went just south of Salyersville through the Royalton area over the past few minutes, but notice how those have really dropped off. And so that's one of the reasons why we are seeing the tornado warning having expired or canceled early, because those were certainly dropped off very quickly across the area. So no more tornado warnings are in effect for our area, and that's certainly a good news. However, we're still looking at plenty of severe thunderstorm warnings, as you can see outlined in the yellow polygons here. And so that includes parts of Johnson County, it includes parts of Floyd County, and also over to Martin County, and then Pike County as well. there's a few storms there. So obviously, let's turn on the radar right now and show you what's going on. One storm that I'm definitely looking at, do you see that storm that is currently severe warned just east of Pikeville? Do you see how it has that kind of hook shape to it? Now, we do not currently have a tornado warning, but sometimes when storms get that hook shape, as you can see here, well, it indicates the potential for certainly a supercell and one that may or may not be able to see some lowering and producing that tornado. So we'll watch this one very, very closely to see what exactly is going on. Either way, we have a lot of lightning strikes for us across the area. Certainly a lot of lightning. We're seeing that moving off to the east, and also the potential for some large hail and damaging winds. So this severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 5:15 p.m. for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail moving through central Pike County. And so as we will real quickly put a track on this, moving east at around 35 miles per hour. So this may end up clipping extreme southern portions of Mingo County in West Virginia. But heads up in the Phelps area, 524, the Kelsa area at 533, and that's actually just outside of our area. But I'd say in Gilbert, for example, a heads up for you too with this storm that is currently moving through. So getting our bearings, I know we've thrown a lot of information at you right now. I want to stress, first of all, that the severe threat for this evening is only in our southern counties. So if you're in Wayne right now up to Huntington and north, especially along the north of I-64, there is no concern for severe weather the rest of this evening. Our severe threat has been focused here across southeastern Kentucky, and right now we have 3 storms of concern as of right now. And these storms of concern do include one that is moving through far southern Pike County, far southern Floyd County, so that includes the Weeks-Berry area. Currently central Pike County in Kentucky, a lot of lightning with this. It does include Pikeville, though it looks like the strongest part of the storm has gone just to the north and east of Pikeville. And finally, we also have this strong storm that is currently impacting parts of, for example, Floyd County and also southern Johnson County. And so let's take a look at each of these 3 storms as of right now. 5:15 p.m., this is the severe thunderstorm warning that currently includes parts of Martin County, but mainly southern Johnson, northern Floyd, and southeastern Magoffin County as of right now. We also do have this storm that is currently in central Pike County. This is the one that is sort of exhibiting a hook shape. However, we do not have a tornado warning on that, but we'll of course watch it very closely. As I turn on those shear tracks that I was showing you earlier, we're really not seeing a lot of that. So as you can see here, there's not a lot of that blue showing up. If we saw a lot more blue showing up here across central portions of Pike County, and let me turn off the arrows here just for a second here, bear with me. And you see here right just east of Pikeville, there's that little tiny area of blue. If this was a more significant color, I'd be concerned, but we're really not seeing anything that means circular winds. However, there's still a strong storm through that area. And finally, over southern portions of Pike County, including, and also Floyd County, including the Weeks-Berry area, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. So obviously we're showing you the radar right now. However, I understand that we have meteorologist Drew Narsutis, who's outside live in the elements for us, and he should be able to tell you what's going on right now. Obviously, we want to have ground truth to what's going on. So Drew, I know you've been tracking this for us. What are you seeing right now?
Hey there, Andy. Yeah, it's actually not so much of what I'm seeing, it's what I'm hearing. And you alluded to it a little earlier. Lots of lightning, lots of thunder with this system moving through the Pikeville area. There's been some decent rains as well as a few gusts of wind that have maybe gotten to about 20, 30 miles per hour itself. But luckily, the strongest of the storms to make it near Pikeville have been just north of town. It put on an amazing show for us here. You saw north of town look like almost a UFO coming in and getting close to the northern parts of the town. However, here in central town, and now if you look a little bit further towards the southern parts of town, you can see that it's not looking too great out there, but nothing too ominous out in our forecast. It's really just some heavier pockets of rain, a few gusts of wind, and plenty of lightning and thunder with this sort of system moving through the central Pike area at the moment. What I think is going to be the biggest cause for concern over the next half hour, maybe down here in some of the southern coal fields, is going to start to go away from severe storms and maybe a little bit closer towards some flash flooding, some street flooding issues around there, as well as, of course, the always present threat of those lightning and thunder strikes out here in our forecast. And again, that's what we've mainly been seeing here in Pikeville. However, there have been some very ominous storms just around the outskirts of town that have likely caused a little bit more commotion than what we've experienced. Back to you guys in the studio. For now, things not too bad here in the Pikeville area. Certainly wet, however.
Thank you, Drew. We are going to continue to follow this severe weather alert throughout the evening, especially for those southern communities that follow.
Yes, and a good reminder, too, to have that weather app handy. We're going to be doing as much as we can to try to keep you up to date here on the air because this is a very serious situation that is playing out with this weather. As you heard our meteorologist say, still tracking through several of our areas, so we'll stay on it. But here's a reminder for you on how you can get to that weather app. You can just scan that QR code.
Yeah, we have reporters. You saw Drew Narsutis out there. He's our one of our meteorologists tracking these storms. Photographers. We're all throughout the region, but we may not be right where you are. So that's where you come in. Scan that code, like Taylor says, and just go to that submission page where you can submit your video, your photos. You can get it, scan the code, or just go to WSAZ.com and look for the Submit Photos and Videos tabs. We'll be able to see what you're seeing and keep an eye on the severe weather threat all throughout the evening. Now let's talk about Decision 2023 because it is primary election day in the Commonwealth. One of the most watched races this year, the governor's race. Incumbent Andy Beshear running for governor for his second term.
Yep, it is the other big story we're following for you. News Channel 3's Kimberly Keggy is joining us tonight in Frankfort. Kimberly, how are things going? We know the polls are getting ready to close here in just a little bit.
Well, Taylor, this is the Kentucky Hall of Governors at the Kentucky Historic Society. And when you talk about the word historic, that's how you can describe Andy Beshear's first term as governor. He's certainly been faced with some difficulties and challenges to navigate with the Commonwealth. You have to think about in that first year, really just a few months after he was sworn in as governor back in January of 2020, we were faced with the COVID-19 pandemic, and he was helping people navigate that in a way that we didn't know how to. Then you think about his third year, really faced with navigating natural disasters. And not only this year, then having to navigate the state through a deadly mass shooting. He's been faced with a lot of challenges, and certainly his team here tonight is excited for the opportunity to be able to challenge again as he's vying for that Democratic nominee for his second term as governor, hopefully making it through tonight. You have to think about the promises that he's wanted to fulfill this year. Obviously, medical marijuana, that has been a big issue and one that he was able to move forward. Legalizing sports betting, that was another issue that he had promised back early on when he was first running for governor in this term, really in that year of January, in that first year, December 2019. And so he's made a lot of progress in it, but not as much as he's wanted to. Because you talk about those challenges that he's been faced with. Now, his watch party is going to start in about 30 minutes. It will open up to the public. And so we will start to see that atmosphere here change a little bit at the Kentucky Historic Society. And we'll be bringing you back a live update at 6 tonight.
Sounds good. Kimberly, thank you so much.
However, on the Republican side of the race, candidates are hoping to win the nomination for the chance to unseat Governor Beshear in the fall. Among them, Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron. News Channel 3's Andrew Colgrove is in Louisville.
This is a race that is expected to get quite a bit of national attention this fall. People interested to see if a Republican challenger can knock off a popular Democratic governor. So tonight, Daniel Cameron and his supporters will be gathering here at the Galt House in Louisville to be watching these returns come in. This watch party set to get underway at 6:30 here this evening. Earlier this morning, Cameron was with his wife and son at an elementary here in Louisville to watch for Cameron to cast his ballot. Cameron perceived as a comfortable favorite in this primary ahead of Kelly Craft, who has served as the UN ambassador under former President Donald Trump. The major candidates in this primary have expressed similar conservative views on the issues, but Cameron has gotten the highly coveted endorsement from Trump, who won the state handily in 2020. Now, this morning, Cameron said that he is feeling cautiously optimistic. He said he was planning to spend the day just doing chores around the house and writing a couple different speeches. We'll see which one gets delivered here in a few hours. For now, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Andrew. We're going to keep checking in with both Kimberly and Andrew throughout the evening. We'll still had a community left with so many questions.
After a teen attacked a neighborhood, killing 3 people, injuring several more.
Man, this is tough. So many great schools in this area. I don't know if I can make this decision today.
That's always making a difference.
What caused a teen gunman to attack a neighborhood in New Mexico? Well, that is what authorities are now working to try to answer. This attack killed several people and it injured others.
And the victims have yet to be identified. Police say the killer appeared to choose his targets just at random. Gloria Pazmino has the latest.
Finding a bullet hole through your daughter's window was just like, my gosh.
More questions than answers. A day after a teenage gunman killed 3 people and wounded 6 others in a Farmington, New Mexico neighborhood.
The suspect roamed throughout the neighborhood up to a quarter of a mile. At least 6 houses and 3 cars were shot in the course of the event.
So far, authorities say the suspect was armed with at least 3 guns, including an AR-15 style rifle.
This is the room. Went through right there.
It was traumatic to be barricaded in your laundry room with your daughter, who's 1.
Law enforcement arrived 5 minutes after the first call. Within 3 minutes, they exchanged gunfire with the suspect, killing him on the scene.
We are doing the best that we can to piece through and talk with family members of the suspect, piece through what was going on, look at the evidence to see if we can figure out what the motivation was.
Among the injured are a New Mexico State police officer hospitalized in stable condition at last check, and a Farmington officer who was treated and released. The New Mexico shooting marks the 225th mass shooting in the first 20 weeks of the year, according to the Gun Violence Archive. I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
And it's not clear what the condition of the remaining wounded victims are right now, but Farmington is the town of about 46,000 people in northwest New Mexico.
And the police chief did say that yesterday was one of the most difficult and horrific days that Farmington has ever experienced. Many of the people that live there gathered for a candlelight vigil yesterday to remember those that were killed and injured. Still to come this evening, a potential ban on this school staple.
There are some serious feelings on both sides when it comes to chocolate milk.
And your Doppler radar scope is lighting up, and that means an augmented reality sponsored by Food Fair. We've got some showers and storms that are washing away Little League and high school games tonight. We're talking about tracking heavy storms when I come back on First to 5.
With an exciting new Toyota, you can go out and enjoy all your favorites.
It's a severe weather alert.
And that severe weather alert, in particular in the West Virginia and Kentucky coal fields. So let's set the stage with the Logan Weather Cam. It's sponsored by West Virginia Lottery, where the dark, menacing cumulonimbus are less than an hour away from the heavens opening up, and there'll be some gusty winds. So here's the big picture. You can see the area from Logan westward now about to get in on the storm, raining to a fare thee well in the I-64 stretch. But let's focus our attention on where the heaviest activity is. East of Pikeville, we're seeing the silver Doppler radar return, and that's an indication this is a hailstorm that's crossing from Pikeville toward Phelps over, for example, toward Warncliffe, and that means if you're ahead of this storm, good idea to get your car under a carport, get your car into a garage. Don't want to do it while thunder and lightning's going on, but the bottom line is this can produce strong winds and perhaps even a brief funnel cloud can be sighted as this crosses the Levisa and the Tug Fork from Pike into Mingo County. And heavy rain is common across the area here this evening. Slicing the storm, the meteorologist wants to go to the tallest cloud because that shows the coldest cloud top and the opportunity for hail and strong winds most prominently. And you can see there's Pikeville, east of Pikeville toward Phelps and heading into Mingo County. This is a 40,000-foot top. So this goes 8 miles high and is certainly capable of producing severe weather. So in Lavender, from the National Weather Service, counties in the West Virginia and Kentucky coalfields under a thunderstorm watch in anticipation of warnings to be issued. For example, coming out of Pike into Mingo, over into McDowell and Wyoming County, high wind and hailstorms with that particular episode of storms that's coming in. Hail up to the size of nickels will be reported, no doubt, in parts of Pike heading into Mingo County. And up close and personal, the storm warning going east of Pikeville now. Phelps crosses over into far southern Mingo, over toward Wyoming and McDowell counties in West Virginia. Specifically, from 5 till 8 o'clock, showers and thunderstorms will be common. And then once we get past 8 o'clock, just a leftover shower. Temperatures in the 60s here this evening. As we get to tomorrow, we're starting in the low 50s, 62 lunch hour, and we'll be in the 70s during the afternoon hours. So the area in the far southern coal fields is finally getting worked over. I had hatched this red circle to indicate this area was more prominent for severe weather because the temperature was higher, and that meant there was more energy, more heat for storm development. Now the atmosphere has been tapped out, and that's a good sign. That means over the next couple of hours, the storm mode will start to tamp down. But again, severe thunderstorm watch in lavender and severe thunderstorm warnings in burnt Texas orange coming from Pike into Mingo, McDowell, and into Wyoming counties. There have been a handful of tornado warnings to the west. So far, no touchdowns reported, but earlier, just in the last half hour, Morgan County, or I should say Magoffin County in West Virginia, was under a brief tornado warning. Not for a tornado on the ground, but for circulation up in the clouds. Can you see how the Doppler radar presentation, this arc that's crossing from Pike County into Wise and Dickinson County in Virginia is the most severe I'm seeing on Doppler radar. So Pikeville east toward Phelps and down toward Norton, down toward Clintwood is the most prominent area for severe weather here this evening. And now I'm seeing this arc that's moving into Madison, into Logan. This has a good capability of producing some strong winds. Keeping in mind that though Boone County is not under a severe thunderstorm watch per se, counties in and close to Logan County are certainly susceptible to some heavy weather. Can you see the silver Doppler radar returns? This is an indication of ice in the clouds, and the storm that's now from heading toward Phelps, this is severe. You have the kids inside. This is the one that's going to produce some damage in southeastern Pike County and cross over toward the McDowell, toward the Wyoming, and toward the southern Mingo County line. So let's take a look at the Doppler radar from a wide perspective on FutureCast. What happens at 7 o'clock? Activity is already out of the coal fields of Kentucky and West Virginia, though, and now by 8 o'clock things are toning down. So literally, we have another hour or two to go through before the severe weather threat in the coal fields does subside. And that'll set us up for a fairly nice day tomorrow. Morning clouds and afternoon sunshine, which should be replicated going forward. But the hit zone tonight, Pike into Mingo counties, we'll keep you posted from the Weather Center. A hazy, humid evening, a shower or thunderstorm. More like showers, I-64, and thunder in the coal fields. Temperature 60s, low 50s overnight with patchy fog replacing the overnight rain. Forecast tomorrow, morning clouds and clearing in the afternoon, a breezy high of 74 degrees. And ladies, we've got low 80s in the forecast Thursday and Friday, and we continue to highlight Saturday for the Mate 1 homecoming. That would be a Heritage Day, and for the Armed Forces Day in South Charleston, big parade, we have the opportunity for showers to be around.
Right, something we'll keep watching the severe weather.
Yep, thank you for informing us. We appreciate it.
Well, up next, cutting costs and shortening shipping times.
Amazon is trying out a new way to get what you want.
Valley Health began with one goal: to provide quality health care to all in our service area, regardless.
Well, it's sparking a lot of debate, but the U.S. Department of Agriculture is considering this, and there are some very strong feelings on both sides. At issue, the added sugars in flavored milk. Some say it is contributing to rising levels of childhood obesity. Others argue that taking chocolate milk off the menu will lead to children drinking less milk, which means they would lose out on calcium and other nutrients. The USDA is expected to make this decision the first part of next year. It will affect nearly 30 million students in elementary and middle schools if it passes.
Amazon is unpacking a new delivery plan that could lead to faster shipping times. So here's how it works. Amazon shipped items from warehouses anywhere in the country. If the distribution centers nearest the delivery location didn't have that item, that can not only be costly, but also impact delivery times. So to fix those problems, Amazon has created 8 regions in smaller geographic
concern about the risk as we head through the rest of this evening. And that's highlighted with the severe thunderstorm watch that's currently in effect across those counties. You see the highlighted areas here. It includes Pike, Floyd, Martin, Johnson counties, Magoffin in Kentucky, and then Mingo, Logan, and West Virginia in our immediate area. But a watch means that it's near and in the watch that has the risk for severe weather. So we'll watch out, for example, in Lawrence counties, even Wayne and Lincoln and West Virginia. While severe weather not as likely there, we could see some storms clipping that area. So as we take a look at what's going on right now, lots happening on the radar. So let's get right to it. You can see really just a hodgepodge of warnings that are currently in effect across the region. I'll turn those warnings off, though, just to show you what's going on. Basically, it's scattered showers and thunderstorms ongoing across southeastern Kentucky right now. A lot of lightning strikes with those, and that shows you how strong those storms can really be. But numerous yellow boxes or polygons here indicate where the severe thunderstorm warnings are. That's what we currently have in effect right now. And so we do have this warning that's in effect, including parts of southern Magoffin and moving into Floyd County until 4:15. So for the next 14 minutes or so here, a lot of lightning with this, but also the potential for some gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour and perhaps up to quarter-size hail. And you can see the estimated timing here, Prestonsburg in the next few minutes to Raccoon and even Williamson. Also a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Pike County, Kentucky until 4:30. Gusty winds and hail expected there as that moves off to the east. And you can see this activity will continue to move eastward over the next several hours. Biggest concerns for this would be the large hail and the gusty winds. Not looking at severe weather north. Is it raining from Huntington to Charleston? Yes, it is. Will it be severe? No, it will not be. Biggest concern for us is going to be showers over the next few hours. We'll quiet things down as we head towards midnight, and we'll of course have a look at the forecast for tomorrow coming up. But I want to take things out live now to meteorologist Drew Narsudis, who's out live in Prestonsburg. Drew, what are you seeing there right now?
Hey guys, yeah, currently we are just on the edge of a severe thunderstorm warning in the Prestonsburg area. I want to take a look behind me right now. If people were out currently, doing a few last-minute chores in the downtown district, things wouldn't be all too bad. Certainly not looking all that rough out there. If I wasn't holding a bunch of electrical equipment, probably wouldn't have the umbrella up at the moment. But we can hear rumbles approaching as the severe thunderstorm warning just to our west is producing potentially 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and up to quarter-size hail. According to the National Weather Service, you can see those clouds starting to look a little bit grayer. But here's the problem with the storms down here in the coal fields is that, these storms don't really get noticed until they're right overhead. It's not like you can look out yonder and easily see the storm approaching. These hills and valleys are certainly something that causes a little bit less time to actually react as the storm moves into your neighborhood, as well as because of the hilliness of it all that rain falling down is going to start funneling in the valley. So not only are we worried about severe winds, we're talking about hail, we're talking about some local street flooding, as well as, of course, even the slightest chance of a twist up here in our region. Likely just a funnel cloud up in the skies, but we'll keep you all updated here in the coal fields and around our region as we move on with the rest of the show. I'll be back at 5 down in Pikeville, where weather could be even worse than it is here in Prestonsburg. Back to you guys.
All right. I think Drew he and our photographer better head inside there for
Probably a good idea, just for safety. Yeah. All right, thanks, Drew.
Decision 2023. It is Election Day in Kentucky.
The race is on for governor. News Channel 3's Alex Jackson has more on the voter turnout in Lawrence County today.
Voters throughout the Commonwealth turning out to vote for their candidates in this primary election. In Lawrence County, some coming to the Louisa Community Center to cast their vote. Governor Andy Beshear looking to retain his spot as governor this November, facing challengers in the Democratic primary today. On the other side, Republican candidates looking for voter support. Current Attorney General Daniel Cameron receiving an endorsement from former President Donald Trump, and Kelly Craft seeing support from Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Lawrence County Clerk Chris Jobe says the primary election serves a major purpose.
So it's important we have several candidates that's running that has worked hard across the state so it's very important to nominate the person that you want to go on to the fall general election.
Jobe says taking advantage of the right to vote is worthwhile.
I encourage the voters to get out. We've got a lot of men and women that have given their life, that we have the freedom to vote.
Also acknowledging the work of his staff to ensure election security and integrity.
We stay up with, the trainings, and we work with our local vendors and state officials and stuff to make sure that we're doing everything that we're supposed to be doing.
Kentucky voting today to set up a head-to-head race for the governor in November. Alex Jackson, WSAZ News Channel 3, Lawrence County.
The polls do not close until 6 o'clock tonight, so if you have not had the chance, you can still make it out and vote. On the Democratic side of the Kentucky governor's race, Andy Beshear and his team are in Frankfort this evening.
Yeah, News Channel 3's Kimberly Kagi joins us there now. And Kimberly, as everyone prepares for the election night excitement, I have a feeling it's going to get very busy there shortly. Oh.
The polls is, of course, you've seen, we're talking about weather, and so you have to think about how that's going to impact those polls too with Beshear. But let's talk about what his term as governor has looked like so far, because he's had quite an unconventional one. You think about just nearly a few months after he was first sworn in as governor back in January of 2020, we were faced with the COVID-19 pandemic, and so that was an issue as we were all trying to navigate that. Imagine being a new governor and having to lead the entire state when we come to that. Then you think last year he was faced with several natural disasters, having to lead people. And that's often been kind of a thing of why people like him as the governor. They think that he's a real person. He relates to things. And that has been another thing that has obviously been stronger on his side when it comes down to polling. This year alone, though, you have those natural disasters last year. And then this year he's faced with having to navigate people through a deadly mass shooting in one of our states. And it's been a long time coming. His team is excited for tonight, though, as he is facing a number of less opponents on that ticket for the Democratic nominee, of course. So we will have an update for you tonight at 5 and an update tonight at 6. As those polls start to close, things are certainly going to change. Back to you, Susan.
All right, Kimberly, we will check back with you throughout the evening, and it will be one of those very busy evenings.
Yep.
For
Always is, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, on the Republican side of the race, candidates are hoping to win the nomination for the right to take on Governor Beshear this fall. Among them is Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron. News Channel 3's Andrew Colgrove joins us in Louisville, where Cameron and his supporters will watch the returns throughout the evening. Hi there, Andrew.
Hey, Susan. Yeah, Daniel Cameron and his supporters are holding what they hope turns into a victory celebration here tonight at the Galt House in Louisville. Doors for this event are set to open at 6:30, so still pretty quiet here right now. Earlier this morning, Cameron was with his son and wife at an elementary school here in Louisville where he cast his ballot. Cameron there saying that he's feeling cautiously optimistic and that he was going to spend the day doing some chores around the house and writing a couple different speeches. Recent polling showed Cameron as the front runner in the Republican primary ahead of former United Nations Ambassador Kelly Craft. The two have cast themselves as leading the resistance to what they say is the indoctrination of children in schools. The leading candidates in the primary have expressed similar conservative views on issues like abortion and guns. Cameron saying that the GOP needs somebody who can unite their party and beat Governor Andy Beshear in the fall. Now, the Kentucky Attorney General has received the endorsement of former President Donald Trump, who won Kentucky handily in 2020. He's been touting that during this campaign. Now, guys, we've been talking about the weather earlier today. Our photographer, Jane Melvin, and I passing through an area that was actually under a tornado warning as we were traveling from Huntington to Louisville. Fortunately, we didn't see anything too hairy. Made it here safely, but tough to imagine this weather we've seen today won't play some sort of impact on voter turnout today. We'll see how it all plays out here in a few hours. For now, back to you.
All right, thanks, Andrew. Further proof of how the weather can affect everything.
That's right.
It is election day, so yeah, definitely always seems to.
And we'll check back with Andrew throughout the evening as well.
Still ahead, it is National Barbecue Day.
Yes, after the break, we're going to be in the kitchen with wild and wonderful barbecue, getting some tips for your next cookout.
And we're talking about the weather and how it might impact the primary. Here's a look at Ashland right now, and you can see it is a damp finish to the day. Now, we are not looking at any severe weather in the Ashland area. This is just your general moderate rain that's falling, but it's areas farther to the south where there's several severe thunderstorm warnings, and we'll track those and what you can expect for the rest of your evening coming up here in a little bit.
This is how legends 2024 Chevy Silverado HD with Duramax.
Day, shouldn't it? Well, as we head into the summer months, it's time to fire up the grill. Grant Schaffner from Wild and Wonderful Barbecue is here to share some tips with us because, we're all going to be doing it, whether it's Memorial Day or family get-togethers this summer.
A lot of people are going to be doing this.
It is a busy time of the year.
It is very busy, and a lot of backyard barbecues are out there doing it. And I thought I'd just show what we do at our food trailer to get ready to do the cooking.
And we got a little precursor about what to expect and the differences between what we're looking at here. And it's really fascinating to look at what you might get consumer-wise right here and what you do to it and how you get rid of so much fat.
Well, this is what you're going to buy at your food distributor or grocery store or another meat outlet. And as you can see, it's full of fat and silver skin, both sides, top and bottom. And a lot of people just think that's why you're supposed to put it in the smoker. And I don't, because if you're going to put some spices and rubs on there, you want that flavor to get down in the meat. So I trim it all off.
Okay.
And a brisket is actually two different muscle structures.
Okay.
So I separate them out. And this is the point, which has more marbled fat in it.
Okay.
And if you've ever heard of burn ends, that's where these come from.
It's going. The grain is going
better
this way.
fat. This is not the good fat.
Yeah, that's the bad fat. This is the tasty fat.
Okay.
And the grain, this grain is going this way. This grain is going this way. It's almost vertical versus horizontal.
When you slice these with the point, you want to slice with the grain.
Okay.
And on the flat, you want to go cross grain.
Okay. After
if
you
you slice it this way, it's going to be very chewy.
Oh.
That would not.
See, and I wouldn't think it because you're going with grain here, and I would think, oh, I'll just go with grain here. No,
This has got a lot more fat marbled into it. It makes it a lot more tender.
How long did it take you to learn all these little techniques?
Oh, you start learning real quick because it's expensive.
You start blowing it.
It took me a month or two to figure out that I did not want this on the smoker. I want this.
Okay.
Okay.
And
you'll see those. They'll even put in recipes. It'll say fat side down.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so, but you're saying no fat, like get rid of the fat.
No, I trim that fat off both sides.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't want anything to impede the barbecue spices getting into the meat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the fat's coming off both sides. It goes in there, and then does it make the cooking time faster, or do you still cook it for just as long? How long do you tend to smoke it?
When you separate it like this, your cooking time is faster.
It is. Okay.
It's not so thick.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, like today, when it's raining, humidity.
Yeah.
It speeds up.
Okay. Describe what happens when you cook it with it, because you talked about how it kind of essentially ruins the cooking.
Yeah, this
experience.
The fat and the fat that's in between the two sections of meat is very thick and dense, and by the time you've cooked this long enough to render it out or get it to melt into the meat, you've burnt the meat.
Okay.
It's charcoal.
Yeah. So you're biting into to charcoal, and you've seen some certain chefs who say, "Oh, look at that! It's nice and tough," but you don't want that.
The bark.
Look at the bark.
I don't want to eat a tree either.
Yeah.
It's hard and it doesn't taste well.
So then we have this. This is kind of the finished product right here, and we're looking at
This is the
here.
point. This is the point
That's
here.
the point right there.
Okay.
Now, I cook low and slow. I cook at about 275 degrees.
Okay. All right.
What do you put on it? Because I see you've got some sauces in
Look
here.
at
Talk
that.
about seasoning and sauces to give us some ideas.
Well, the rubs are my own recipe that have some chili powder, cumin, very little brown sugar on beef.
Okay.
And this is your new smoked.
That's the new one that I think we're going to name it
I
smoked.
want to try this one right here. So
Come on.
put a little bit over there. Put it on
So,
the plate.
from this stage, you put your rub, your seasoning on. At what point do you put the sauces on?
When it's done.
When it's done.
When it's
Wait
done.
until that point.
Yeah, whenever we're serving out of the trailer, we have the sauces heated up.
Okay.
And then we put it on their sandwiches or their plates at that point, and let it go with it.
Oh yeah.
And
Are you gonna make me eat with
I
my
think a
hands?
little hand and a little dip. Watch how soft
Oh,
it
it's
is.
so tender. Okay, while we're doing a little taste testing, talk about places you're going to be, because you take your
You're a busy
smoker on the
man.
road all over the place.
We're mobile. This coming weekend, we're in
Oh, that's good.
Malden, West Virginia, at the J.Q. Dixon Salt Fest.
Festival.
Yes, we were there last year. They've invited us to return this year.
That's smoked. You've worked. How long have you worked on this?
Months.
Months.
And there's the trailer. You'll see it out and about at various festivals this summer.
Sauces can make all the difference. They can make or break it.
Make it or break it. Like if you go down into the Carolinas, especially South Carolina, they put a lot of vinegar in it.
Yeah.
And out in the Midwest, where I learned how to cook, the sauces are more tomato based.
Okay.
And
Well, this is
for
excellent.
me, I don't really like the vinegar base.
I'm telling you, Grant, this is terrific.
Delicious.
And there's the website, Wild Wonderful Barbecue. You can check it out, and you'll be able to check out Grant at different locations all over the place. Thank you for coming in.
We post our schedule on Facebook and Instagram, so they can follow us there.
These are some great tips to help us out as we start doing our own grilling.
Yeah. I'm glad you were able to come in again. Yeah. Oh, the
He's
sauce
going to be
is
a little
great.
busy
This is
here for a while.
This is what you perfected. This is your smoked sauce. It smells like it. It tastes like it came right out of the smoker. It's perfect.
It does.
Try it. Thanks again for coming in.
Happy National Barbecue Day.
Yeah, National Barbecue Day.
Yeah.
All right, as we go to the break, we're going to check out the Ashland. Oh boy, look at that! Looks like more rain's coming down right now in Ashland.
It does look a little dark and stormy out there right now.
Double check that. That's pretty good. Yeesh. Weather alert indeed right now. You guys are tracking some storms that, especially in some areas, they're looking at some weather that could really have an impact in the next couple of hours.
Yeah, and that is going to be in our southern counties, so southeastern Kentucky, the coal fields of West Virginia are under the highest risk. The rest of us, though, you saw Ashland a bit earlier, Huntington, it's raining, but we're not looking at any severe weather here because the atmosphere is too worked over and just not conducive of that type of weather. So as we head through the rest of the evening, the biggest risk here is going to be over the next, I would say 2 to 3 hours. So especially as we get to 7, 8 o'clock, things will start to quiet down. And then as we head through the rest of the evening, not looking so bad. So this is just in the near term that we're looking at this type of activity. And it's those southern counties, like I mentioned, that are under the gun for some stronger storms. But really along and north of I-64, there's not going to be anything severe. Temperatures will fall here from the 60s to the 50s overnight. And then tomorrow's a lot quieter. Bit of fog to start. Clouds will be in the lower 50s. We'll gather the sunshine as we get to the afternoon. We'll be in the mid-70s, and there's no risk for any concerning weather on your Wednesday. Temperatures right now, though, tell the story. We're in the 60s along and north of I-64. When you get temperatures that are that cool, that's usually not what we would expect with severe weather. But notice farther south, where we're well into the 70s across parts of Kentucky and West Virginia, that is where we're looking at some severe thunderstorms, and that's where a severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until 8 p.m. for these shaded areas. So that includes our counties in Kentucky, Pike here, Floyd, Martin, Johnson, and also McGoffin here. And then we also see Logan and Mingo counties in West Virginia. Now, remember that a watch means that it's areas that are near or in the watch under this weather threat. So we'll just watch Lawrence, Wayne, and Lincoln counties here, Lawrence County, Kentucky, that is. While we're not under the watch, we'll see if any severe weather clips our area. But either way, scattered, damaging wind gusts, and perhaps some larger hail are certainly going to be possible. Taking a look at the radar right now, big old mess across our area here, but there's really just one warning right now in our immediate area, but you can see the mess and cluster here of showers and thunderstorms. A lot of lightning ongoing, but some of these may produce those strong wind gusts, could bring down some tree limbs, for example, blowing objects all over the place when you get gusts up to 60 miles per hour, and perhaps some larger hail as well. But the warning that is in effect for our immediate area does include Floyd County here, right through the heart of Prestonsburg. A lot of lightning here. This is in effect until 4:45, so over the next 20 minutes or so, it's moving off to the east, and it has the potential for some strong wind gusts in addition to up to quarter-size hail. And so as we put a track on this, heads up in the Sydney area here over the next few minutes or so to Phelps and to Hurley if this continues on the same track. So that does include areas that are in Pike County, Kentucky, and it may end up clipping southern portions of Mingo County in West Virginia, assuming it does hold together. But lots of lightning with this, and that could be a concern on its own. So make sure you are inside, not outside during this lightning storm. Now, we had a severe thunderstorm warning earlier for this southern storm in Pike County. That has been canceled early because it's weakened significantly. So right now, the only concern is we're having is this Floyd County storm, where Drew was reporting earlier. There's a lot of lightning, and that severe storm is moving through the area. But a cluster of showers and storms moving through southeastern Kentucky right now and heads up in the coal fields of West Virginia. It's quiet in Logan, and even if there's been peaks of sun, that means that we're dealing with a severe threat. Weather is not severe along and north of I-64. Watch out for wet interstates, for example, Huntington and Charleston, but we are looking at some lighter rain across our area. And so this will begin to taper out over the next few hours, showers and storms here as we head through 8 o'clock, and then we'll be quiet overnight. Tomorrow, a much nicer day with clouds in the morning and patchy fog turning sunny in the afternoon. And we'll catch our breath these next few days with nice weather on Thursday and Friday. We'll be in the 80s, and then showers and storms mainly for the first part of Saturday. We should be able to salvage late Saturday, and Sunday is looking nice, as well as the start of next week. So just got to get through these next couple of hours. Those areas that I mentioned, we are dealing with the severe weather threat, but once we get rid of it, we will be good to go for the next few days.
Okay.
Kind of a busy evening keeping us all up to date on this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We have election night and all this crazy weather at the same time.
Election in Kentucky and severe weather in the same state. So
Yeah.
We'll see how this may affect the turnout to the polls.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Andy,
Thanks.
thank you. Still ahead, a program this summer helping to educate the educators.
So after the break, we are talking about the Summer Black History Institute.
Cancer. It's a very scary word. But an outstanding treatment facility was here at home.
Hey, can you hear me praying at night?
I was led to the Lawson Cancer Center.
Just make it through the day, make it through the day. Just make it through the day, make it through the day.
As a nurse practitioner at the Lawson Cancer Center, we are champions for our patients. I am so happy for Robert. The treatment worked.
Make it through the day, make it through the day.
Are you looking for the best deal right up front on a brand new Jeep? It's Jeep season at the #1
Our area.
So our friend Bernice Morris, a professor at Marshall University, is here to tell us more. You've been on the set before talking about history, and you and I are both kind of history geeks. So we've talked about this before. This institute, though, is a way to kind of spread that gospel of history a little bit, isn't it?
Well, we are following in the steps of Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who's considered the father of Black history, and he has local roots as a former coal miner and educator in Huntington. And he wanted to put Black history back into the textbooks.
Right.
They were deleted, and we are approaching a century of Woodson's work in Black History Month. And the teachers are looking for resources, and so the Institute helps them with lesson plans, and we do a local history tour. We will get on a school bus and go to various spots in West Virginia, including the Greenbrier.
See, and that's in itself is interesting because you're taking this on the road. It's a unique idea, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We want them to be able to take their students out and to learn about various communities, not just what's written in the books, but things that they can research on their own.
So talk about who is this for? Can anybody do it? What grade of teachers? And do they just have to be in Cabell County?
It's open to all teachers, but we expect most of the teachers, as they have been in the past, from Cabell County.
Okay.
But
any county, any teacher.
Yes, K through 12.
Okay.
We have a grant from the West Virginia Humanities Council, and this is the 5th grant we've received from them. And we like teachers who teach art or history or English. Almost any subject can be accommodated. We give the teachers who are successful 3 graduate professional development credits. We give them a stipend of $500, and we pay their tuition.
That is amazing.
How important is it to continue to promote the idea